Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Wednesday morning Facebook Live here at Briggs Health. I'm Jennifer Briggs, licensed acupuncturist here in Coos Bay, Oregon. I'm going to talk today about carpal tunnel. A lot of times people will have carpal tunnel is really, really miserable. It's usually numbness or pain in through the palm of the hand. And if you think about your fingers being numb, or if you're experiencing that, you know how hard it is to do really simple tasks. Writing something with a pen, working on a keyboard. Sometimes picking up a coffee cup becomes painful or not even possible. It wakes people up in the middle of the night, this numbness. And so people who have this, they'll go to the doctor, and often the doctors will do a diagnosis. They'll say, oh, you've got carpal tunnel syndrome, which is basically the nerves that come down your arm and into your hand. They get squished in a little tunnel right here, and right at the base of the palm. There's a little hole in between some bones, and then there's a ligament that goes across the top of it. And when that little space that the nerve and the blood vessels go through gets pinched, then it presses on that nerve and cuts off the blood supply a little bit, which is what can create those problems with the hands. So the doctors, if you go to the doctor, they'll do a diagnosis, because sometimes the nerve will be pinched here, or sometimes it could be pinched in the neck, and they have to figure out which one it is. Those are the two most likely spots, although the nerve could get pinched anywhere along its pathway to the hand. So they do what's called a nerve conduction test, where they basically kind of start at the end, and they give a little electrical shock to the nerve all along, and they see where you can feel it and where you can't. And depending on where they feel like the pinching is happening, then they will usually they will recommend surgery. Okay, so it could be a problem in the neck where the disc is kind of pinching and pressing on that nerve, and then they'll want to go in and kind of clean up that disc area, get the pressure off the nerve. Or the other thing that they'll do is on the hand here, they'll go ahead and cut the little ligament that attaches these two bones together, because that's where the carpal tunnel is, underneath there. So the little ligament lays over the top, and they'll just go in and cut that little ligament so that it allows this to be open and relieve the pressure that's happening on the nerve right there. So, which is fine, but what the problem with that is that there are things that we do with our hands and our bodies that lead to that carpal tunnel getting squished, or that lead to that disc being compressed. And if we don't correct the things that we are doing to create the conditions where that nerve can get pinched, then even if you go ahead and have the surgery and the pressure gets off the nerve and you can feel your hand again and use it, the underlying conditions are still there. And those underlying conditions can actually create other problems in your hand, or in your elbow, in your fingers, in your neck. So just taking that little piece out could solve the carpal tunnel pain and numbness, bring the sensation back, but it doesn't change the things that led to it. Okay, so that is where acupuncture, and specifically orthopedic acupuncture, which is one of the types of acupuncture that I really like. It's very effective. So acupuncture can actually help set the stage for correcting and resolving those problems, which is really, really great. I can actually work on directly on the ligament and the bones that make up the carpal tunnel. And I can do it without even using needles. I often do use needles, but for those people who are needle sensitive or needle phobic, I have other options. And I can actually start to correct the underlying cause that leads to the carpal tunnel. And also, if you take those steps, then you can also avoid some of the other problems that can come. Trigger finger can come from the same problem. And the problem itself is that the position of the hand is kind of folded up and closed like this, and it creates limited movement. Um, so really, one of the big things you can do is really open up your hand and stretch all the fingers and ligaments, and that is really, really helpful for the carpal tunnel. If this is where your problem is, if it's in your neck, then we need to look at what you're doing with your neck and figure out some workarounds and ways that can improve. But don't just go straight to surgery, because it may help relieve that carpal tunnel and bring the feeling back to your hand, but it's not going to resolve the underlying issue that caused the problem in the first place. So if you or anyone that you know has this kind of problem and has questions for me, I'm going to refer you to our website. It's briggshealth.com. That's BRIGGSHEALTH.com. I can work with people remotely as well. So you don't have to come into the office for this. I am happy to answer questions, and so reach out. I would love to answer questions and help out whoever I can with this. You don't have to live in misery. So I hope everybody has a great week. Oh, yes. And we are having a referral special still for the rest of the month of September. Anybody that you refer, that person gets a $25 credit off their first visit. And also you get $25 credit off of your next visit. So do spread the word around. You can refer people to Facebook or to my website. Let me put that up again, briggshealth.com. And I hope everybody has a fabulous week. All right. See you next week.